Good morning, everyone. It is Mo and Fry is dead asleep. It was loud, and as Griffin, future meteorologist, will tell you, it was angry rain last night, or hail, if you will. But yeah, so it was super loud. We now have cold rain, and thank you so much, Eris, for doing the mod things and for just being you. I hope you are feeling better. Welcome, Judge Maddie and Sal and Christine, Distant, Debbie W. I am so sorry. I feel like I am getting a little bit run down, but little kids are just they they're the gifts that keep on giving. Hospice Jess, good morning. AZ's Wildflower, good morning. And on a positive note, uh, Judge Mo, the notorious resting bee face, her costume should be coming in today. So I am all super de duper excited. Uh, all the good things. So let's see what February the 28th has in store for us. And well, I didn't have that on my bingo card because goodness knows. 30 Kentucky prison guards had smexy time with inmates over just 16 months, while 14 others smuggled in the non street legal pharmaceuticals. You know, It's just like you can't trust the inmates or the asylees. At least 30 Kentucky prison guards had inappropriate relations with inmates uh, in just 16 months, with one female staffer becoming pregnant by a prisoner. That birth announcement, while 14 others smuggled in drugs, according to a report. After a protracted battle with state officials over records access, the Herald Leader newspaper obtained a trove of internal reports that offered a rare glimpse into official misconduct behind prison walls. Documents pertained to cases that arose over 16 months and ended in November 2023. In one incident, Trista Fox, 39, was charged with third-degree grape in December 2022 after fellow guards walked in on her having the smexy time with a Kentucky State Penitentiary inmate in Lyon County. Another female guard who resigned after being confronted about her relationship with an inmate told investigators she was vulnerable to her jail pursuer's romantic advances. Okay. Quote, "He just caught me at the wrong time one day. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say," she said. "My weak female feelings just couldn't help it," she said, according to the Herald Leader. So this would be Trista Fox, who apparently they caught in flagrante delegro. The inmate was more philosophical about the union during an interview with prison officials. Quote, "I'm saying I just live in the moment," he said. In another instance, an Owensboro probation officer became pregnant by a convicted out on parole last year, or a convict out on parole last year. A female corrections officer was terminated from Sandy Correctional Complex in Elliott County in 2022 after a staffer saw an inmate meet with her 25 times in a matter of hours in different prison dorm areas. 25 times in a couple hours? Well, that's recovery abilities like no one's business. Good googly mooglies. In addition to all that misconduct, the Herald Leader reported that 14 other prison employees obtained drugs and other contraband for inmates and were in some cases paid to do so. Of the 140 prison staffers probed, 62 were fired or resigned. Others received warnings or training to make amends. Quote, "We handle every piece of information the same, whether that be contraband or a relationship or whatever. The truth of the matter is that If we were not handling these situations in a very aggressive manner, the numbers would not be what they are. Scott Jordan, Deputy Commissioner of Adult Institutions, told the Herald Leader. Experts told the outlet that prison guards work in challenging environments and are often overworked due to chronic understaffing across the country. Those conditions can also often lead to feelings of isolation and underappreciation. Quote, given where you're working, that can lead to some problems. Judah Shept, an associate professor in the School of Justice Studies at Eastern Kentucky University, told the Herald Leader. Cases of, well, relationships between guards and inmates have surged in recent years, with cases being prosecuted across the country. Erica Jones, 20, a corrections deputy with Shelby County Sheriff's Office in Memphis since May, was taken into custody this week after an internal investigation, officials said. Two female South Dakota prison employees, one guard and one nurse, are currently facing charges for having smexy time with inmates. Good Lord. All y how about, and maybe this is just crazy, but we have women, police the women prison and men police the men's prison? I mean, I know it won't cut down on everything, but it would seem like some of this stuff would take care of itself. Like I said, I'm not precluding, guys that like guys and girls that like girls getting into shenanigans, but seems like there would be, a lessening, if you will. But these would be common sense solutions, and who knows? In other news, not real Elvis, but what the actual heck? An Elvis impersonator in a world of legal jeopardy after allegedly exploited runaway 16-year-old girl found nude in motel room after 4 a.m. There is so much to unpack here. Was he wearing the gold lame suit? Did he have his ascot on? I mean, what is going on here? A Michigan man known for his impressions of Elvis Presley. Okay, skinny Elvis or fat Elvis? I think we need to get this out of the way. So I'm guessing sort of skinny Elvis. Uh, Faces serious federal charges after a 16-year-old girl reportedly considered a runaway from New York was allegedly found in a state of undress in his Pennsylvania motel room. Ch- Explain this. Your the kingness, your faux kingliness, sir. Matthew James Chantilly's, a 45-year-old Dearborn Heights resident who goes by Matt King on stage, was indicted in Erie, Pennsylvania last Friday on 3 charges, which together threatened decades of imprisonment upon conviction, according to the U.S. Attorney General's office or U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Pennsylvania. The alleged exploitation of a minor, transportation of material depicting exploitation of a minor, possession of child grossness, took place from October 2023 to January 2024. The longtime performer spoke with the Detroit Press more than 6 years ago about the Matt King persona, his world travels, his wife, and of course, Elvis Presley. I don't believe his wife is still current now. He now faces substantial legal jeopardy. Federal prosecutors allege that the defendant, quote, used, persuaded, induced, and enticed a minor to engage in gross, disgusting acts for the purpose of creating visual depictions or recording this conduct. Then he transported or he took these recordings across state lines. Erie News Now reported that when Chantalise was initially arrested on January 24th after 4 a.m., troopers allegedly found him at a motel with a nude minor. The report also shed light on why the authorities began the timeline in October 2023. The victim reportedly told investigators that she'd met the defendant online, specifically social media, months before his arrest. That he had given her vodka and that the two sent explicit photos to each other. What an absolute dingbat. Pennsylvania court records reviewed by Law and Crime show that an Erie County case was brought against Chantalise or Chantalewis. Look, sir, not the king, on January 24th on charges of felony interference with the custody of children, misdemeanor corruption of minors, misdemeanor of selling or furnishing liquor or malt or brewed beverages to minors. Records show the defendant was released from jail the next day after posting a $100,000 bond. Though the state case is still pending, it will likely take a backseat to a more serious federal case. An indictment memorandum filed by federal prosecutors alleged that this that not the king, faux king, intended to exploit the victim so she would quote engage in disgusting conduct for a minor for the purpose of creating recordings so that he could watch it over and over again. As a result, the government has requested that the defendant be detained ahead of the trial, arguing he's a danger to the community and a flight risk. Seems kind of normal to me, though. If he goes around in a sequin jumpsuit, I don't think anyone's going to miss him. But the three federal charges add up to 60 years in possible prison time should the defendant be convicted as charged on each. The child grossness charge by itself is punishable by at least 15 years in prison, the indictment memo noted. Reached for comment, not the king's defense attorney of record, Stephen Sebald, told Law and Crime that, quote, he is still investigating the alleged facts and circumstances of the case, end quote. He added that his client is currently in custody in a federal facility in Michigan. Interesting. A Willy Wonka inspired or experience, quote unquote, scam was so bad that people called the cops. I thought this is where dreams go to die, said one actor who was hired to work the event. People who attended a Willy Wonka inspired, quote, chocolate experience, end quote, in Glasgow, Scotland. Look, if I heard chocolate experience, I don't know. Were promised, quote, extraordinary props, oversized lollipops, and a paradise of sweet treats, end quote, all promoted with dream-like candy-colored images on its website. When ticket holders arrived at the event over the weekend, they instead found a sparsely decorated warehouse with nothing resembling the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory franchise the event invoked advertise in its advertising. Quote, "It was just ridiculous. I mean, it was very amateurish. Absolutely nothing like what was described," said Anna Lockins, who paid £35 per ticket or 44 dollars and 40 cents to take her two young children to the experience. For the sake of my children, we were trying to be happy and smiling so they wouldn't pick up on the disappointment and just tried to make the best of the bad situation. Oh, hell no. My kids would be like, "There's not even candy here? And where are all the weird little Oompa Loompas?" Oh, no, we have had this talk. Yeah, I don't know that I would have put chocolate experience on there. Outraged, attendees immediately began posting their experiences online, calling the event underwhelming and a quote unquote scam. Some people quickly likened the event to the infamous Fire Festival, a chaotic and pricey island concert that was falsely advertised as a quote once in a lifetime music experience. By Saturday afternoon, the experience had been canceled, and local police confirmed to NBC News that they were called to the scene after attendees who felt conned began demanding refunds. And further examination, along with interviews of people hired to work at the event, hints that ch- artificial intelligence generated media may have played a key role in creating its veneer. I don't even think they had a I don't even think they had Willie. I I don't even think they had a single Oompa Loompa. They didn't even have Augustus Glorp. They had no one. The event website touted interactive exhibits, and images shared on the site couldn't be found elsewhere on the internet through reverse image searches. Some bore known hallmarks of AI creation, most notably strange and nonsensical lettering. Two actors hired for the event spoke to NBC News, said they were promised £500 to perform in themed costumes that weekend. They each said that the scripts they were given appeared AI generated because its gibberish wording. And when they showed up for rehearsal Friday night, more alarm bells went off. Michael Archibald said he heard back the same day he applied to the acting gig, which was listed on a job site. Indeed, when he showed up to rehearse the day before the event, the warehouse still looked bare bones beyond a few props, and he said the costumes weren't even delivered until rehearsal was nearly over. Oh my gosh. I know. That would be awesome. Uh, and things did not look much better when he arrived the next morning. Quote, "I thought this is where dreams go to die." No, that's Hollywood, darling. He said of his reaction upon walking into the warehouse Saturday, "I already could feel the embarrassment. I knew the script was AI generated as well. I was like, this isn't normal human writing. What in the hell is this? Oh no, if I paid $40 for this, I would absolutely be asking for my money back." The event was hosted by London-based event company House of Illuminati, which was incorporated just 3 months ago, according to the UK government agency Companies House. It describes itself as, quote, "A realm where fantasy and reality converge to create unparalleled immersive experiences," end quote. Well, it is unparalleled in its crapitude. You have set the bar extremely unparalleled. It is unparalleled in its craptacularness. You guys are just amazing. This just keeps getting better and better. I mean, the absurdity of this. The company did not respond to a request for comment Tuesday. My shock. In the hours after the event's abrupt cancellation, House of Illuminati posted a now deleted statement on his Facebook page promising to return the attendees' money. Quote, "Today has been a very stressful and frustrating day for many, and and for that we are truly sorry. Unfortunately, last minute we were let down in many areas of our event and tried our best to continue on and push through, and now we realize we probably uh, should have canceled first thing this morning instead," the post said. We fully apologize for what has happened and we will be giving full refunds to each and every person that purchased tickets. End quote. It isn't entirely clear whether the company used AI to generate its promotional images and character scripts, and the company hasn't addressed the topic ever since the ongoing explosion in generative AI technology made it easy for internet users to instantaneously create web copy and images from text prompts. Many sellers and services have begun using AI generated content in their marketing. Deepfakes of celebrities and influencers advertising certain products have also circulated in recent months, tricking some potential buyers. Paul Connell, another actor hired for the event, said some in the script were, quote, absolute nonsense, end quote, and impossible to replicate without special effects. The actors said the event organizers soon told them to scrap the scripts and just improvise as the characters they were supposed to play. At one point, Connell said the actors began to suspect that the event was a sham and that they were unlikely to receive payment for their work. But after they discussed the situation among themselves, he said they decided to stay and try to entertain the kids as best they could. I just thought of it as I just want the kids to have a good time, so I'm going to be silly and take photographs with them and play little games with them, Connell said. There was a little girl dressed as an Oompa Loompa that was just really upset because she'd expected Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and got a dirty warehouse in Glasgow. Oh, she was dressed all up as a little Oompa Loompa. I wanna see a picture of that. I mean, not of the little girl, obviously, because, you know, people are weird on the internet, and that is a horrible that is a horrible costume. Like, they didn't even try with this. But a little kid dressed up as an Oompa Loompa? That sounds so sweet. Connell said the situation began to deteriorate soon after the event began. He said he took a lunch break as his, quote, sanity started to go and returned to see chaos unfolding. Quote, there was just a mob of people outside and inside. It was carnage. Connell said, I joked when I walked back in. I've been at lunch an hour. What's happened? And there were people just running everywhere, shouting, threatening the organizers. By then, the police service of Scotland had been called to the scene. A spokesperson said in an email that it wasn't a police matter, but officers offered advice to frustrated attendees. Locken says she's received an email confirming her refund, but hasn't received the money in her account, which House of Illuminati's post said can take up to 10 working days. The company's director, Billy Cole, appears to have wiped most of his online presence since he drew backlash for the event. Cole didn't respond to requests for comment through his Instagram page. Disgruntled attendees have created a Facebook group called House of Illuminati Scam to share their experiences at Willie's Chocolate Experience and organize efforts to secure refunds. Box Hub, the event venue that rented out its space for to the House of Illuminati, said in an email that it had been in contact with several parents about offering its venue as a space to host another event for families who were dismayed by last weekend's. Quote, we would love to offer our venue completely free of charge as a gesture of apology on behalf of House of Illuminati, who either have no regards for families and young children they have disappointed or were too embarrassed to comment. Aw, well, I mean, at least they're doing something. And yeah, perhaps don't name your company if it is a sham House of Illuminati. Maybe House of Duplicity. Just don't be a little obvious. But this, I mean, congratulations on the venue at least being more stand up than the people who are organizing the event. Let's see here. Operations manager Matt Waterfield wrote, he reiterated that Box Hub had no involvement with House of Illuminati's event beyond renting out the Glasgow venue and said the company was, quote, shocked to see the way this event had unraveled after being led to believe that this event would be a, quote, fully immersive showcase. For Lockins, purchasing 5 tickets for her family made a sizable dent in her wallet, but she said she thought the experience would be worth it for her children, who were major fans of all things Willy Wonka. The event's website said it had no official affiliation with Warner Brothers, which owns the rights to the Willy Wonka character. It's not it's just not what I expected at all, and it was certainly not worth, £35 per ticket, she said. In a midst of a cost of living crisis in the UK, that's money that most families won't be able to afford to part with for something that was just so terrible. Just ridiculous. I would be so ticked off. A girls' high school basketball coach banned for forfeiting game over, um, not playing another. I believe this is, the team where one of the girls, we've all seen that video on TikTok if you haven't been living under a rock, where the transgender player basically yanks the ball out of the other player's hand and either knocks her head on the look, the player is injured. The coach of a Vermont high school's girls basketball team that was banned from state athletics after forfeiting a game against a squad with a trans player defended the decision, stressing the danger of biological males playing against girls. Quote, I have 4 daughters. I've coached them all at one point in their careers playing high school basketball. Chris Goodwin, coach of the girls' team at Mid Vermont Christian School, said Monday on Fox and Friends. I've also filled in for the boys' coach when he can't make it to a practice. I run those practices, and the boys just play at a different speed, a different force than the girls play. It's a different game, he said, adding it would be irresponsible and asking for an injury to play a smaller female athlete. The private school declined to play Long Trail in February 21, 2023, a Division 4 playoff game because it believed that competing against a team with a biological male, quote, jeopardizes the fairness of the game and the safety of our players, end quote. The Vermont Principals Association banned Mid Vermont from all athletic events as a result of the team's refusal to play that team, and the school later filed a lawsuit against state officials. The VPA told CNN in a statement that the school, quote, has every right to teach its belief to its own students. It cannot, however, impose those beliefs on students from other public and private schools, deny students from other schools the opportunities to play, or hurt students from other schools because of who those students are. End quote. But Goodwin defended the decision to forfeit the game. Quote, after discussions with the administration and our players and parents, we decided that instead of going against our religious belief that there are some differences between male and female, we create and we are created differently. We decided to forfeit that game and withdraw from the tournament, he said. And at that point, the state of Vermont governing body kicked us out of all athletic competitions in the state, the coach added. The small school located in Wenatchee, Quincy, claimed that it was, quote, irreparably harmed by being denied participation, end quote, and losing out on playing competitive sports as well as academic competition, states in a lawsuit which was filed by Alliance Defending Freedom. So I didn't realize they'd gotten kicked out of, like, athletic decap athletic decathlons too. The ADF is a Christian legal advocacy group that works to defend and preserve freedom of speech to expand. So basically, I am surprised that they wouldn't even let them do like chess tournaments or, you know, mathletes, if you will. The state is entitled to its own views, but it is not entitled, nor is it constitutional, to force private religious schools across the state to follow orthodoxy as a condition to participate in Vermont's tuitioning program and state athletic association. So they basically been kicked out of the association that runs, I guess, all of these tournaments. Let's see. 18 state legislators have banned basically, you play as the biological sex you were born as. Now, Vermont is one of the states that hasn't gotten on that train. Apparently, the VPA has not, commented, but we have seen we've seen where people are getting hurt. This that's the video where someone got hurt, so this might not be the same team. I don't watch I don't watch sports ball all that much, but in pretty sad news, because I think Gary Sinise is possibly one of the most genuine Hollywood actors and all of the work that he's done for veterans. Gary Sinise's son, Anthony Mack Sinise, passed away at 33. Quote, "Our hearts ache." I I just think that people can get hurt, and it doesn't seem to be giving girls the chance to compete when we know that there are differences. Like, we used to could know these things. I don't understand why denying truth is being kind. It just doesn't make sense. I am willing to extend kindness and try to be kind and try to be understanding up to a point. It's just for the love of all that is holy. Gary Sinise's son, or Anthony Mack Sinise, was diagnosed with a form of cancer called chordroma in 2018 and passed away on January 5th. Gary Sinise's son was 33. Gary, 68, shared the news of Mac's death in a statement shared to the Gary Sinise Foundation website and his Instagram page Tuesday, writing that Mac died from cancer on January 5th. The actor wrote that Mac had been diagnosed with a very rare cancer known as chordroma on August 8th, 2018. The disease originates in the spine and affects around 300 people in the US each year, as he wrote. The Forrest Gump star wrote that Mac's diagnosis came just months after his wife, Moira Harris, had received a, received a stage 3 breast cancer diagnosis. While Moira went into remission and has remained cancer free following treatment, Gary wrote that Mac's disease spread over time and disabled him more and more as time went on. Mac's diagnosis came several months after he joined the Gary Sinise Foundation, a charity that works with military members, veterans, first responders, and their families, as an assistant manager of education and outreach. Gary wrote in a statement, Mac was also an exceptional drummer who played shows with his father's Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band Act. Gary wrote. Mac was a graduate of the University of Southern California and studied songwriting and composition on top of his drumming. Gary wrote that he underwent 5 separate spinal surgeries between 2018 and 2022 or 20, I'm sorry. and grew paralyzed from his chest down due to the disease's effect on his body. Despite these limitations, Mac and several collaborators created an album titled Resurrection and Revival. Gary said that his son died the same week the album went to press. This is just so sad. Quote, like any family experiencing such a loss, we are heartbroken and have been managing the best we can. As parents, it is so difficult losing a child, Gary wrote in a statement. My heart goes out to all who have suffered a similar loss and to anyone who has lost a loved one. We all experienced it in some way, or we've all experienced it in some way. Over the years, I've met so many families of fallen heroes. It's heartbreaking and it's just damned hard. Our family's cancer fight lasted for 5.5 years, and it became more and more challenging as time went on. While our hearts ache at missing him, we are comforted in knowing that Mac is no longer struggling and inspired and moved by how he managed it, he added. He fought an uphill battle against a cancer that has no cure, but he never quit trying. Sinise noted that he only spoke publicly for the first time about Mac's illness in December 2023 interview with Fox News, in which he highlighted the music Mac worked on the final months of his life. Quote, Mac was living out a dream, bringing it to into reality with his collaborating partner Oliver, Gary wrote. It was incredibly motivating and therapeutic for him, and he was excited to see it all come together. Mac is survived by his parents, Gary and Moira, his sisters Sophie and Ella, and their children, as well as his grandmother, aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers-in-law, caregivers Lulu and Mimi. As Gary wrote his announcement, Gary had added the family is ensuring Mac's album, Mac Sinise Resurrection and Revival, is released and pressed on vinyl. It is, it's really sad. I will say Gary Sinise, when I look at all the things that he's done and the Gary Sinise Foundation, he is one of the and I've never met him, so he could be a douche in real life, but he seems like one of the more genuine, very genuine Hollywood people that has put his money where his mouth is, as far as being kind, genuine, and hardworking, and really caring for people, first responders, and their family members. Okay, guys, let's not get into big old political fights. If you would like to have those fight, Twitter is still available. In other news, if anyone would like to go in with me, now Chad is welcome to join in with me on this one. But if anyone would like to go in with me to help me buy Freddie Mercury's Glorious London home, we can all live there and have a glorious queen of a time, which I am totally all for, 'cause, Freddie Mercury, as he would like to say, "I was such a ridiculous tart in those days." Freddie Mercury's quote unquote "glorious London home" hits the market for the first time since his death. Let's see what it will cost us. Garden Lodge, the cherished former resident of late Queen icon Freddie Mercury, has hit the market for the first time since his 1991 death for offers above 31 million. All right, now let's start shaking out those couch cushions. I know it's gonna be no, it's gonna be a little bit difficult, but we all have to work together. If anyone has, like, any of those Bitcoins lying around, I don't know how you get them or what you work with, but, we'll find life finds a way. Bloomberg first reported the news of the offering, which is represented by Knight Frank. Mercury bequeathed his London property, which he had owned since the 1980s, to his friend and former fiancée, Mary Austin. Over the next 3 decades, Austin lovingly preserved the home and its contents, maintaining it in much the same condition Mercury kept, meaning a buyer today can get a seemingly pristine time capsule and a big piece of history linked to one of music's biggest names. Quote, "This house has been the most glorious memory box because it has such love and warmth in every room," Austin said in a statement. "It has been a joy to live in, and I have many wonderful memories here. Now that it is empty, I'm transported back to the first time we viewed it. Ever since Freddie and I stepped through the fabled green door, it has been a place of peace, a true artist home, and now it's time to entrust that sense of peace to the next person." Located in the affluent enclave of Kensington, this abode served as a sanctuary for the late star, born Farrukh Balsora. He died at the age of 45 from AIDS-related complications. Constructed in the Neo-Georgian architectural style, this residence dates to 1907. Mercury stumbled upon Garden Lodge in 1980 and bought it on the spot. Thrilled with the prospect of redesigning the house, he tapped interior architect and designer Robin Moore Eade to bring his visions to life. The creative cap Collaborla collaboration under Mercury's artistic leadership yielded remarkable results. Inside, the house exudes a grand yet comfortable ambience, affectionately referred to by Mercury as his country house in central London. I don't know, there's just not as much Liberace as I thought I would see, though I like it. So, there we go. I'm just saying all of us need to find our loose change, and I'm sure we're all very close to being hundredaires. So if we pull our money together, we'll be thousandaires, and then in a couple years, we can afford to rent a night out in the Airbnb that will be this house. Okay, Vermont, explain yourself. Totally cold is not too cold for winter swimmers competing in a frozen Vermont lake. Plunging into a frozen lake and swimming laps may not be everyone's good time, but for winter swimmers who return year after year to a northern Vermont lake near the Canadian border, there's nothing better. The 10th annual, what in the actual hell is this word? Mefren Heffrenmog winter, that sounds like what you say when you don't wanna curse as soon as you get in the water. Mefrenmog Winter Swimming Festival kicked off Friday with the 200-meter or 118-yard freestyle race in a narrow pool cut from the ice, but the festivities started Thursday and on Friday morning with some of the 180 participants swam a lap wearing a decorated hat. No. Just no. Quote, "It was amazing. It's the highlight of my year," said Andy Nielsen of Arlington, Virginia, after swimming 25 meters or 27 yards in the hat competition. "It makes me happy." She planned to compete in all events over 3 days and said it's more about the people and camaraderie than the icy water. Ted Hurst, 63 of Boston, and Ed Gabriel, 62 of Germantown, New York, have been competing against each other for about 7 years. This year, Gabriel's beat Hurst in the 200 meter freestyle. A group of women from Canton, Ohio, called the Buckeye Blue Tits, You guys win. Range in age from 40 to 80 years old and returned for their 4th year. They swim year-round in Myers Lake at home, but they wouldn't miss the chance to swim in Vermont in what organizers say is some of the coldest winter swimming in the world. Quote, "It's the vibe. We have so much fun here and we're amongst friends." Uh, Margaret Gadzik said, "Winter and ice swimming is defined as swimming in water 41 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius or below, according to organizers. The International Winter Swimming Association lists 9 such events around the world this season on its website, with the Mefren Heffernan being the only one in the US. Other competitions have happened in Sweden, Poland, Switzerland, and Belgium, with one coming up in March in Estonia. Quote, "Our water temperature is 30.5 degrees or negative zero point 0.8 degrees Celsius. It's a microscopic slushy. We call it, quote, totally cold." End quote, and it's the coldest some of the coldest water, coldest swim in the world, said Phil White, the director of Kingdom Games, who added it's the only competitive 25-meter ice pool in all of the Americas. Swimmers were escorted out onto the frozen lake in robes and stripped down into their suits just before plunging in. Once they finished, escorts handed them towels and robes before they were walked into a nearby warm building. This year, swimmers came from as far away as Mexico and England, as well as from Florida or from California, Arizona, Texas, and the northeastern US and British Columbia. Nielsen of Virginia was so excited she didn't get much sleep Thursday night before the 200-meter swim. She said she inhaled some water and felt nauseous after eating lunch an hour earlier, so she had to slow down her pace. It was still fun. No, no. And I don't know, I feel worse for the dudes in this because you also have to wear a Speedo. I mean, I guess the Speedo is optional, but shrinkage. Graceful klutz. I'm afraid that due to many things that have gone on in Kenosha legal stuff, I will not be going anywhere near Kenosha courts. Fry is mad. Fry is mad because, uh, tomorrow he has, an assessment, so we can go to story time because I'm a little nervous about this one. So tomorrow, Fry has an assessment, and I have looked at all of the reviews and everything, but Mr. Mo and I have talked it over, and, we're looking at doing board-in, training for him because, well, he will probably have to lose his man bits before he goes into the inboard training, but the problem with regular training is that if he jerks on the chain or the leash, I'm down a couple days because he just either way, it's my leg is not that great, and he, uh he needs someone that is not easily swayed by puppy dog eyes, and he may or may not have trained me to be sympathetic to him whining. So yes. So, he has an assessment tomorrow to see if he is a good candidate for this, kind of really intensive month-long training that kind of does the crate training so he gets comfortable with it and, learns that it's not a punishment. We had really heavy winds, and it's gone back to being really, really cold and not so many downed trees, but really heavy winds and, some small hail, not big hail like we thought we were going to get. Yeah, and with him being bigger than I expected, I I was comfortable with him being a Pomsky and training him, but I think someone who's used to the bigger dogs. So Mr. Mo and I talked about it, and we set aside some funds to do this more intensive, and the trainer works with you to kinda give you a different attitude when you're dealing with your dog. So, the more Cesar Millan, "You are the alpha" thing, just to kinda give us a reset so Fry knows that, "Hey," he does really seem he's smart, but he is thank you, Eris. It's just and I feel look, if you are a mom/wife/woman, slash woman, if you don't have all of the guilt going on all the time, so you can have orbits of guilt going on everywhere. So, I have Fry mom guilt, uh, which, I feel bad because I purposely looked for a smaller breed dog because I didn't want to, get a bigger dog and not be able to do walks every day because my leg was going to be bothered, some days. I knew that. And lo and behold, Fry is a giant dog. So, uh, definitely we are looking at that. We are looking at if, you know, then it's you know, Mr. Mo is like, "Hey, he's a little wild. You need to control your fur son." And I'm like, "Yes." And I'm working on it. And then I'll put him in his crate, which, I got for when I thought Fry was just a large Pomsky. So the crate is just not big enough for him. So if anyone yeah, so definitely, uh, excited to see if, this will be a good fit for us tomorrow, and I think it really will be. This place has really, really good, uh, reviews, and they seem really down to earth, but it definitely is he definitely needs more training than I'm equipped to give him right now with it being cold weather and rainy, and as we transition between colder weather and into warm weather, it's that and he needs to get used to other dogs. So, right now, he's aggressive with other dogs, and I need to let him socialize with other dogs. He thinks he's a lap cat. So, now that he's understood that he can jump onto the bed, there is nothing like a 60-pound dog laying on top of you, and he's like, "I is a lap puppy." So, I want him to socialize, I want him to be more comfortable, and, you know, I think that him having good training and then him having the basics down and then the trainer being able to work with me and train me is the best way to do this rather than me trying to do it in 1 hour, sessions around the day. So, it is it it is a new journey. We are going to see how he does. I think he will have a lot of fun making new dog friends that might like him a little bit more than his frenemies, the cats. Yeah, I don't expect that I'll break him from thinking he is a dainty little toy poodle, but at least he will understand that he is a dog. And, once he doesn't jerk on the leash, I think the boys will be much more comfortable taking him out for walks because Griffin's like, "Your dog is too powerful for me." And he really is, so it's hard to ask the boys to help with him when, Fry sees a squirrel and all you see is this, little feral child just being hydroplaned across the backyard. So, that is what's going to go on tomorrow. Depends. You never know. I am, moving you guys over to Nicholas. I do know that, Legal Vices is doing the Hannah Gutierrez case, so we've got, Nicholas is doing the Fonnie Willis. I know Legal Vices is doing the Hannah Gutierrez. I am not sure what Baker is doing, so I know there's a lot of options. I think and then I am going to continue to work on the Groves trial. I'm going to try to get those in video form. Now, once we get to the prosecutor losing her ever living snot on parents' dumbest, I will do that as a live stream. I believe because I am not sure why we are doing Fannie Willis again other than Fannie Willis is still going on, or maybe he's doing Young Thug. Look, I know he's doing something in Fulton County, but I think you guys are being directed to Nicholas, but I'm trying to give you a sort of heads up of where things are going on. And so I will try to give you guys a heads up because I might be ready to do that tomorrow somewhere. Oh, well then, dang it, let me change that, and I will send you guys to prices because, I am always on top of things, but tonight, depending on when, uh, my costume comes in, we may have Judge Mo doing, the stream of the prosecutor losing their ever living mind on these not so great parents because I am here for it. Well, actually, potentially criminal is coming up with the Quest Rekieta arguments, or we've got have I not Legal Vices is just not doing anything? Okay, so I have you guys going over to, uh, Baking with Broken Baker because his is closer than any of the other ones. I've done what I can. Anywho, have a wonderful day. I will see you all in a little bit, and if my robe comes in for the notorious, RBF, resting bee face, we may do a stream tonight unless Mr. Mo has date plans, and I don't know, but if not, I get to wear judge robes and be all the petty, which I'm okay with. Have a lovely day. Say something nice to yourself. Say something nice to others. You know, a little kindness goes a long way, or a little sarcasm, whichever one. If you're sitting next to me, just spill the tea. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.